Good evening, everybody. This is further to our earlier session on introduction to how MS Word can help us as editors. So, in this session, we are going to take a look at how we can have a better proofing method with MS Word. What are the various features available for proofing? Spell check is something that we all know of. Okay, what are the various options that can make a spell checking process more effective? And how as an editor, how as editors we can exploit the inherent functions and the various features associated with spell checking to our advantage. So the first thing that we are going to look at is on the ribbon, you can see the menu called review. All right. So under review, when you find something called language, a menu called language, you click on language, there are two options. One is set proofing language, the other one is language preferences. We're going to focus on language preferences. The moment you click it, a dialog box opens, and then there are two components to it. One is the Office display language. The other one is Office authoring languages and proofing. Okay, so our focus is going to be more on the second, the Office authoring languages and proofing. But I'll take a minute to explain what it is with respect to Office display language. The Office display language is a language with which MS Office, any of its applications communicate with us. For example, the ribbon that you see right now in any of your document is English. Have you ever tried to set it in your own language? Probably Hindi, probably Tamil, or any other language. It would actually be fun. So let's try, say, Hindi. Okay. So I selected the language because I have downloaded these languages already, and then it is part of my library, the MS Word library. You can do that if you are interested. So the language choice Hindi is already available here, and I click on set as preferred. Okay. So it automatically goes to the top of the list. I confirm it. Okay, you get a confirmatory message that says, please restart Office so that your language changes can take effect. So you have to close all the all the MS Word applications that are open so that this change is effective. So I have a couple of documents, PowerPoint and Excel and a Word document all open. So I'll close them all. Okay, I'm going to share my screen to see how it works. Okay, so I simply open a Word document again. You can already see that on the bottom left, it started appearing in Hindi. And you see that the new blank document has some Hindi words in it. See, whatever it is. My Pratmik is long ago, so it will be very difficult for me to read them. But you can see that all the menu items have now turned to Hindi. All right. So there is file, there is home, and what is it? Some kare. What is it? Can someone read that?
Sammilit kare.
Sammilit kare. What does it mean?
Include.
Insert something, right? Insert is the equivalent menu there. And we have design, we have layout, we have sandarbha, we have mailing, and we have samiksha. So again, I'll go here. Our little experimentation is more than enough now. You know how to change the language on the ribbon. So I'll go again. I can't read much of Hindi too quickly, but I know what is there on the menu. So I'll simply click on the menu item that I know is correct. I'll choose English, set it as a preferred language again, and okay. I'll close the document again so that MS Word activates the new system, new settings. Okay, so the blank document appears here. All right. All the ribbon items, menu items are in English again. So this is how MS Word communicates. It tells us, right, every menu element, every ribbon element is something MS Word tells us that we can interact with the application, right? So that is the first choice. Okay, so the review menu, I repeat, review, language, language preferences. So the first one is the Office display language that we have played around with right now. In the second one, I have included a set of languages here. Okay, so these languages are the actual preferences that you set. So the moment you create a new document, whatever is your preferred language will be the default language of a new document that you open. So I have set English India as a preferred language. So one of the advantages is that if you have English India,
He
if you have English India as your
chameleon.
okay, if you have English India as your preferred language, let's say you open MS Excel, all right. So you enter some money value. The moment you choose currency as a type, it will automatically display that as an Indian rupee with an R symbol, rupee symbol. If you select English United Kingdom as a preferred language, the currency default would be sterling, pound. United States will show you dollar. So these are some of the advantages of having the preferred language. And this will also be the default proofing language when you create a new document. But when you receive a document from somebody else and open it, the language that was set by that person, the original author of the document, will be the actual language. All right. So two things, or rather three things. One is a display language. This is a language with which MS Word communicates with us. Second is the authoring language or proofing. This is the default language wherein a new document created for MS Word applications will have. And the third one is the proofing language, where a document is open. You can play around with any language. You can change English United States to British English United Kingdom, or even Indian English. So whichever language that you are going to work on, so that can be changed. So that would be your first topic of understanding. Okay. So in order to have some clarity, we'll have a quick poll. So we'll have 30 seconds for each of these questions. What is the proofing language and the preferred language? The first question is, proofing language and the preferred language are the same. Is it true or false? So there are 4 questions. I'll devote 1 minute to 1.5 minutes maximum to answer these questions.
So which version of MS Word are you using?
I'm using 2016. Which one?
Okay.
Which one are you using?
I have 2010, but that's okay. I understand.
This will mostly the same. These are all the basic features that were since probably from the beginning of MS applications. Most of them.
Right.
So the way it is, displayed to you would be different possibly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'll end the poll. It's 1.5 minutes. Okay. So the first.
I got lost. I was lost for a few minutes.
No problem. I'll explain.
I'm back.
Proofing language and the preferred language are the same. No, most of you have rightly identified that as a false thing. They are different, but understand that the preferred language can become the proofing language by default. If you are opening a new document, that becomes a default proofing language also. But you can at any point of time change a proofing language, anything else other than the preferred language. Number 2, preferred language automatically detects the currency type in MS Excel. That's true. The moment you enter some value and then click currency as a formatting, that will identify the currency type of the preferred language. If you have chosen Indian English India as a preferred language, then the currency identified would be rupees, Indian rupees. Different sections of the same document can have different proofing languages. That's also true. You can select different parts and then apply different language choices. That is true. And once a proofing language is set, it cannot be changed later. So everybody is very clear about that. No, it can be changed any number of times you want to. So here is your polling. So that completes our first part. The second part is how we can set the language in a step-by-step manner. All right, I'm going to take you back to the Word document. You should be able to see a Word document titled again, the same document, Sample Editing for STM Key for a Webinar. Can you? Can you all see a document now?
Yes.
All right. So the first step is to select the entire text. Okay. Control A. You can use Control A to select the entire text, and then ensure that track changes is off, disabled. You can see certain things on your status bar. This is called the status bar. Okay, so on the bottom of the document, you can see certain small strip that has some indications like page 1 of 3, 539 of 539 words, English United States, track changes off, and so on. So this small strip at the bottom of your document is called the status bar. Okay, this status bar is helpful in looking at what are the various features that are enabled or disabled. So you can right click on the status bar to see the various options that you can bring to this status bar. For example, formatted page number, section. The ones that have a tick mark on the left are those that will appear on the bottom. So you can see that page number is checked. You can also see page 1 of 3 here at the bottom left. Similarly, word count is a spelling and grammar check. It says no errors, and the language, label, and so on and so forth. So if you do not see any of these choices, but you want to include them in your status bar, you can go right click on the status bar and choose whichever options you want to see. I have enabled English the language settings and the track changes indicator as part of my status bar. All right. So you can see that the track changes is disabled. I repeat, select all, disable track changes if it is already enabled, and click on the language part. You can also do this. You can also do this by going to the review language, set proofing language. So the dialog box can be reached through two ways. One, by simply clicking on the language on the bottom on the status bar, or by going to the review menu under language, the dialog box opens. You select, let's say, English United States. It is already there, so I select English United Kingdom. Okay, it is not just that. Go to File, Options, Proofing, Recheck Document, and then this will ask you for confirmation. Yes. Scroll a bit down and ensure that the two dialog boxes that you see here, hide spelling errors in this document only and hide grammar errors in this document only, they are not checked. Okay. If they are checked, automatically any error in your document will not be shown to you, will not be considered for spell checking. Okay. I repeat, go to File, Options, Proofing, Recheck Document, give confirmation, scroll down, ensure that hide spelling errors and hide grammar errors are not checked. Most of the times by default it is not checked, but the author of the document can, for whatever reasons, can enable these checkboxes, which means you have to ensure that these are not checked. Okay, so once this is done, you can enable track changes if you want to. If you are going to share a track change version for review to your author, you can do that. Okay. So I'll tell you why you should ensure that the track changes is off, because this will not create any problem. This is not a problem, but from a different perspective, this is annoying. Okay. If track changes is on and then I select and set a language. Okay. So you can see the track changes is on, and then the English United Kingdom, I am trying to change it to English United States. Okay, the moment I did that, you can see that on the right, plenty of dialog boxes appeared. I mean, these are called balloons. MS Word calls them balloons. So these balloons appear on the right hand side. They are distractions, especially for authors and writers who are not so familiar with track changes and other things. This becomes sometimes even annoyance to them. Therefore, it is very important that these are changes that they do not need to see. Therefore, you can simply disable them. You can simply disable them without track changes. You can change the language. Number one, any large scale formatting change, you can do it this way. All right, let's say the original document is given in single line space. You want to convert, you want to have a 1.5 line spacing or a 2 line spacing because you are always comfortable with that line spacing. You can do that without track changes, so that on the right you are not populated with so much of information that distracts anybody. Second, it is important that you select the entire document. Otherwise, what happens? I deliberately track changes on, enable track changes. You can see that the cursor is on the word molecules. I change the language to United States, English United Kingdom. All right. You can see that again, a balloon appears on the right that says English United Kingdom for that particular word. The moment I move the cursor away from that word onto a new word, you can see that the language is once again English United States, not English United Kingdom. Going back to molecules, you can see that it is English United Kingdom. So if you do not select the entire document, whatever text that was selected, maybe you have selected a single line or maybe a single paragraph or even a single word. So whichever was under selection will be affected by the change, not the entire document. So you may be thinking that you have selected United States English and does a spell check, but you will end up having errors in ISD spelling or different spellings, possibly because you have not selected the entire document before you change the language preference. So MS Word did not consider them as errors for that particular choice. So it is important that you select all, disable track changes, set the proofing language, and go to the file options, proofing, and then recheck document, ensuring that the two checkboxes are not checked. Also, under language, when you set proofing language, there are two checkboxes here as well. Do not check spelling or grammar and detect language automatically. Okay, so do not check spelling or grammar is equivalent to having those two checkboxes checked. And detect language automatically is good as long as you do not have a preference and want to go by the the majority occurrences in a document. Okay, Anju, you said please repeat. What is that you want to repeat?
I just wanted to understand again the proofing part.
Proofing part as in, I'm sorry, I'm not able to follow your question. I'm sorry.
Status, you told to select all where to go. I was just penning it down.
Okay, so
I am a beginner.
No worries, no worries. All right. So,
same here. I could use a repetition of the steps.
See, don't worry. There will be two things. One, I was hoping that the video recording that I made would go without any problems. So I have requested my wife to give me tea as the video is playing. But it turned out that I have to do the live part.
In that case, I would also help you.
What?
In recording editing, I would also help you. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so there are two things. One, I have recorded a video, and this will be available in my YouTube page. And this entire, session will be recorded. Is being recorded, and then that will also be shared by Vivek in his YouTube page. So you will have two places to refer to. Number one. Number two, I will also create some follow-up documents so that all of these step-by-step instructions are given to you. So you don't have to worry about noting them down as you attend to the class. If you can do that, well and good, no problem. But if you can't, don't worry, because you will be supplied with enough instruction material. All right. Okay. So anyway, for the sake of repeating it. All right. So you select all and then set the language by clicking on the review menu under language, set proofing language. You change the language that you want. See, these are some of the most often, language that I use very often. So they appear at the top as my most frequently used preferences, but you can see a lot of other language choices are also available as a drop-down menu. You can choose whichever is appropriate for you. Okay, and once this is done, you will go to File, Options, and then Proofing. Ensure that you are rechecking document, and ensuring also that the hide spelling error and hide grammar error in this document only are not checked. Okay, so these are all some courtesy things. There are some aesthetics. One is you select the you disable the track changes because you don't want to populate your document with so many unnecessary formatted information about format and other things. Possibly overwhelm your author if he or she is new to this, and they may find it difficult to follow. And two, you have to select the entire document if you want the language change to be effective for the entire document. Otherwise, only part of the document that is under selection will change. Otherwise, it will not change for the entire selection. So what do I do? Did I miss anything else? Just give me a moment to recollect. Yeah, I think that's it. So shall we go for a quick poll about the step-by-step instructions to set the preferred language or the proofing language for your document? And we can also see that how much of this was helpful even without taking notes. Let's see. Give me a moment. Polls. Second poll. Okay, so I think there are around 5 questions for you this time. So the first question is, it is a good idea to start editing a document with a spell check? Yes or no? I quickly peeped into the ICF page to see how it is going. I realized that the screen sharing option is not available for FB Live. So it live streams only the speaker and whoever is in the unmute mode. It is not showing all participants and also not the screen sharing happening. So maybe it will be difficult for people who are following live there. I think I'll give a little more time for this quiz because there are 6 quizzes. 6 quiz questions with. Okay, so the first question is, it is a good idea to start editing a document with a spell check? Yes, always. I always recommend that you do at least 2 spell check. And I say at least 2 is enough. 1, when you begin a document. The reason you do that is the moment you run a spell check with a lot of options available from MS Word that we are going to see next, many of the minor changes, many of the mechanical aspects of this proofing all right, like changing American spelling to a British spelling, or inserting serial commas, or a few other things that can be set with proofing, spell check rather. This can happen without you having to do that as part of your actual editing process. I always believe that your mind should focus on editing. When you do editing, you should not be focusing much on the petty things. So possibly you can divide your editing process into two, such a way that in one pass of reading, you focus on the content at the larger level, meaning how the sentences are constructed and how they are connected from one to the other, and so on and so forth. So this involves an understanding of the text. The other one is fixing the mechanical aspects of editing, like the styling. All right, standardizing the entire text to American English or British English or Canadian English, ensuring that there are serial commas everywhere. M dashes are there as parenthetical break, not N dashes, spaced N dashes, and so on and so forth. You realize, if you had done some editing, you already realize that what we do is a combination of, what we do in editing is a combination of two things. One that involves thinking, the other one you can put into autopilot mechanism. Okay, so if some of these autopilot mechanism can be done using spell check, do that at the beginning itself. Okay, so once it is done, most of these changes have happened already. As you edit, you will find you focus more on the content rather than on the smaller things. And another one at the end, okay, to ensure that you have not introduced any problems. Most of the times we have seen a control yes that we pressed, the control was not pressed properly, so you have inserted an yes, okay, or possibly some of the changes that you made, you inserted a word or you changed one word to another, you somehow missed to insert the right spacing between the words. So as during the process of editing, you actually introduce certain errors that happens very often. So a final spell check will help you, correct those problems. One question will arise. So will you not be spending too much time on doing the spell checking? I have done it once. Let's say it's a 300-page book. I have done spell checking for 15-20 minutes already, and you want me to do a spell check again? No. The next section, next part of this session is going to address that. You don't have to do an entire spell checking, as you did in the beginning of the document, because there are certain things that will help you minimize the spell checking duration during the end of the editing process. Okay. The status bar will not show the language selected. No, you can see that. And it is mandatory that the track changes be disabled before setting a language. It is not actually mandatory, but it is more of an aesthetic choice. When you disable that, you are not bringing in unnecessary distraction to your document. So it's more of a good practice editing. What is the use of recheck document functionality? Yes, of course, it clears the cache from the previous instance of spell check. And also it will ensure that the previously accepted suggestions are ignored. So this is going to be one of the answers for your earlier question. Will I be spending too much time in spell checking again at the end of the editing process? So the hide grammar or spelling errors in this document dialog box should be checked or unchecked. It should be unchecked. When you check it, all the errors will be hidden and you cannot find them during the spell checking process. So it has to be unchecked. The language choice enforced will change the language of the text selected, the word in which the cursor is in, the entire document. It will not change the entire document text unless you have selected the entire text. So the right answer is, it will change the language of the text selected, or if there is no selection, it will change the language of the word in which the cursor is in. Okay. So with that, I'll take you back to the Word document again. And this time, we will look at some of the options that are available for us in settings. Again, I go to File, Options, Proofing. It's the same sequence. I'm just repeating it so that it goes in, it's kind of a reinforcement for you. Proofing, just above recheck document, under the heading, when correcting spelling and grammar in Word. Okay, there are some options that are already checked. These are all default choices. Check spelling as you type, mark grammar errors as you type, frequently confused words, check grammar with spelling, show readability statistics. This is more of a, this is not part of our, basic spell checking, so it is not a default mechanism. Also, you can see on the top, when correcting spelling in Microsoft programs, you tell MS Word not to consider certain things as errors. Some of these choices are ignore words in uppercase. So you might notice that abbreviations are not showing as errors, even though they are not acronyms, word sounding abbreviations. They will not be shown as errors because you have by default shown included that errors, uppercase words should be ignored. Similarly, words that has numbers would be ignored, internet addresses would be ignored, and it will flag repeated words. Therefore, if there is a the, or a had, and so on, if there is a repeated word, MS Word will identify them with a wavy underline. Okay, so that's the first part. In the second part, under when correcting spelling and grammar Word, we go to settings. You can see that with respect to writing style, there are two things. One is grammar and the other one is grammar and refinements. Okay, so grammar contains only the grammar part. Grammar and refinements is what we are going to look at, because this will cover grammar also. Under settings, you can see a long, really long list of choices. Okay, so what are the various things MS Word can check for you? One, adjective used instead of adverb, agreement with noun phrases, which means noun pronoun agreement, some capitalization, whether there is a comma missing after introductory phrases, whether there is a comma splice structure, identifying commonly confused words like affect, effect, and so on, and then comparative use. A lot. I'm not going to repeat all of them. I'm going to leave this to your curiosity to look into each of them and see what happens. And finally, one thing that I wanted to talk about is Oxford comma. This is checked. So MS Word can identify instances where Oxford comma need to be inserted or removed depending on the style that you choose. Punctuation required with quotes can be inside or outside. Again, this is equivalent to saying whether you want to enforce American English convention with respect to punctuation or British convention with respect to punctuation. Okay, so these are the various options that you can include in your spell checking. Simply for the sake of doing it for you, I have selected almost all of them. Okay, so once you select that, you can click OK and then recheck document, confirm, and then OK. All right, so I need to make a disclaimer now. So will MS Word identify every single instance of a serial comma missing, or will MS Word identify every single instance of a word confused? No. Okay, so this is a style or a refinement process that possibly will help you identify some of the changes in your document. MS Word, Microsoft Word possibly follows some algorithm to identify these things. So if you have a very simple list, then Oxford comma, presence or absence of Oxford comma can be identified. But if it is a long list, certain other elements come along with the list, then MS Word might be confused or may not consider that as a list and then move on without making any indications. And most of the one word introductory phrases will be identified, but not all of them. So what does that mean? It means that you still have to focus on certain things with respect to these styles, but MS Word can help you minimize that attention span. Okay, so that's the most important understanding. You should not take it that MS Word can replace your editing process with respect to these style requirements. It will help you, so that you don't have to do everything manually. All right, so let's go back to the document and then spell check. So before we spell check, let's do the language setting process step by step. Select all, track changes to be disabled, and then language, let's say American English. Okay, not that. Proofing language has to be American English. And then go to the file, options, proofing, recheck document. Yes, I want to. And then ensure that the 2 checkboxes are not checked and confirm. Now go to the top. I want to see all the changes that are happening. Therefore, I'm going to turn track changes on and then start doing the spell check. F7 is a shortcut key for spell check. I hope most of you know that. F7, function key 7 is a shortcut key for your spell check. So F7, so that's an instruction piece. So I'm going to ignore it. Ignore again. You can see that. How many of you heard about the nanotechnology? It's basically a question, but ends with the sentence ends with a period. MS Word rightly identifies that as a question, and then gives you some instruction also, some comment also about that change, recommended change. Try adding a question mark to make this actually question. So you can change it, and then it will show all the proper nouns, most of the proper nouns, frankly, as errors because they are not part of the Word's custom dictionary. So I'm going to ignore all the proper nouns that come up as error. You can see that there is a suggestion to insert a comma after this, and it says after an introductory word or phrase, a comma is best. It also gives you some examples to explain. So I say yes, change it. And then it recommends the change of affect to effect. Okay, it suggests that the word affect be changed to effect here. If you look at studies on the toxic effect of nanomaterials is correct. To understand why this change is correct, you need to understand what is the difference between affect and effect. A simple lookup on the internet will give you a lot of links to this discussion. So I'm not going to go there. So I'm going to accept this recommendation and change it. And there is a recommendation to, there is a recommendation to change fastly to fast because there is no word called fastly. Unfortunately, the suggestions here are not showing up the word fast here. Therefore, I'm going to make it manually fast. And then I ratio, more proper nouns, more false positives. You can see that again, there is a recommendation to insert an introductory comma. And theranostics is a word that is not part of the Word's custom dictionary. So Word thinks that it is a wrong choice. So if you're not sure, you will simply copy it and then look up a dictionary of your choice. It could be Oxford Dictionaries or Merriam-Webster or any other dictionary recommended by your customer. If your customer doesn't have any preferences, follow the standard dictionaries for the appropriate language. Okay. So I'm going to reserve that looking up that in the internet, on the internet. So I'm going to ignore that for the moment. Nanotheranostics, again, I'm going to ignore that. More proper nouns, so more false positives. You can see that nanofibers has a British English FABRES variant. I'm going to accept this change and change it to FABERS. Similarly, physico is not considered as a proper word, but I know that physico compound is something that is acceptable. I'm going to simply say ignore all. And we can also see that word suggests you to change statistical to statistically significant changes. So the sentence is, we found statistical significant changes. No, the significance is statistical. Therefore, the correct syntax would be statistically significant changes. There is some explanation also there at the bottom. You can see an adverb works better here. Use adverb form typically ending in ly to modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. So there are some examples to explain why. All right. So I know that this is a valid change. I am Going to accept that.
He's getting the things right here. Huh? He doesn't have to. He's getting the reason right here on his screen. You notice that?
Yeah.
Uh, can you come again? I'm not able to follow you.
You don't get that.
No.
Keeps on doing it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was. All right. So here is a recommendation to insert a serial comma. Nanomaterials are regularly characterized as items with measurements of 1 to 100 nanometers, which incorporates nanogels, nanofibers, nanotubes, and nanoparticles. Okay. I know that this is a right case for a serial comma. So yes, change. Okay. So these are all some of the changes that MS Word has suggested. You would notice that it is not simply the errors, spelling errors, or not even spelling preferences between American and British English variants. There are a lot of other things also. All right. So MS Word can help us in ensuring these points. I'll also show you some of the failed instances of these. Okay. Now, do you see that at the second line, in the past few decades, a comma is needed here because there is an introductory phrase, but MS Word could not identify that. There has been significant advancements in the field of nanotechnology, especially material science, photonics, bioelectronics, biosensors, small molecules, drug delivery system determination studies, and so on and so forth. There is a list without a serial comma, but MS Word could not identify that as a serial, as a series. So what could be the problem? Because there are some words here that are not simple one-word list items. For example, material science, small molecules, and so on. Simply for the sake of trying to understand what happens, let me make them all one-word list items. Okay, and then instead of small molecules, I simply say molecules. And instead of drug delivery system studies, I would say studies. Okay, but Word still thinks that this is not a list. What could go wrong? So let me try deleting this citation. Yeah, the moment I do that, you can now see there is a blue wavy underline showing here. If you right click here, the suggestion is to insert a comma, molecules. You can run spell check again, and that instance is identified here, that recurring comma here. A comma before and could make the items clearer. Okay, so possibly we can conclude that MS Word is confused by the way the list is structured. If it is a very simple list, MS Word can clearly identify the Oxford comma positioning. If the list is a little complex, little involving, then it becomes difficult for Word to identify that for you.